What is the math on that? 48 million?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm a mathematician, but maybe.
So $48 million somebody made on me.
Yeah.
I did not make anything.
Let's talk about the filth that's starting to come out in the early days of the Diddy trial. This, of course, is P. Diddy. Surprise, surprise, he's a creep. Surprise, surprise, he's done horrible things.
Beyonce's once unshakable image is now caught in the crossfire of rumors, accusations, and a silence that speaks louder than words. For weeks, the internet has been ablaze with whispers of scandal, tying her name to the dark spiral surrounding Sean Diddy Combs and his ongoing legal turmoil. The Queen of Pop, who once stood on the pedestal of untouchable artistry, now finds herself accused of being complicit in a shadowy world of exploitation, betrayal, and abuse. And yet, despite the growing storm, she remains silent, offering no denial, no explanation, just a carefully curated mirage of life as usual.
This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both men.
But the cracks are beginning to show. Social media is ablaze with discontent, fans expressing disappointment, betrayal, and even outright rage at her refusal to address the allegations. According to data analysts tracking her online presence, Beyoncé has been hemorrhaging followers across platforms, with estimates putting the losses in the millions. Her Parisian performances, once hailed as triumphant displays of artistry, are now being questioned as elaborate distractions. How can she sing about empowerment while standing next to men accused of tearing others down? Asks one viral TikTok caption. The pressure is mounting, and Beyoncé's silence is beginning to feel less like poise and more like complicity. And then, in the midst of this media maelstrom, a new voice emerges to throw fuel on the fire. Aubrey O'Day, a former member of the girl group Danity Kane, steps into the spotlight with claims that are as salacious as they are damning. O'Day, no stranger to controversy herself, has been outspoken about her experiences with Diddy during her time under his label, Bad Boy Entertainment. But this time, her sights are set on Beyoncé. According to O'Day, Beyoncé wasn't just a passive observer of Diddy's infamous freak parties. She was an active participant.
We promise you this is not an April Fool's joke, what you're about to hear. It is an actual lawsuit filed by an attorney in federal court about Diddy.
For those unfamiliar, these parties have long been shrouded in rumors of debauchery where consent was blurred and power dynamics were exploited. O'Day alleges that Beyoncé and Diddy engaged in behavior that, if true, would shatter the carefully constructed image of a woman whose career has been built on themes of strength, dignity, and independence. And perhaps what stings the most for fans is the implication that Beyoncé may have betrayed her own husband, Jay-Z, in the process. The rumors paint a picture of secretive encounters where alliances shifted and trust was eroded.
The feds, Al Capone style, have not charged everything under the sun. They've charged three main charges: racketeering, trafficking, and the transport of a. And I'll tell you, I don't know about the racketeering charge. It's pretty sweeping, and I'll tell you what the general elements are.
Aubrey's credibility for some lies in her proximity to the chaos. As a member of Danity Kane, she was not just a performer, but a witness to the darker underbelly of Diddy's empire. Her claims of psychological manipulation, body shaming, and coercion lend a chilling authenticity to her allegations. He wanted us broken, O'Day has said in past interviews recounting how Diddy would pit the group members against one another to maintain control. If we hated each other, we'd never unite against him. This pattern of control, she claims, extended even to the infamous parties where consent was a murky concept at best. O'Day's revelations about Beyoncé come at a time when the public is already scrutinizing her connection to Diddy. Fans are questioning why she and Jay-Z have not distanced themselves from a man facing such serious allegations. Some have even unearthed old stories, like the infamous cheesecake incident from MTV's Making the Band, where aspiring artists were humiliated on national television. According to new claims, the cheesecake wasn't even for Diddy. It was for Beyoncé, who allegedly encouraged the stunt.
Because we now know who all the prosecutors will be on Diddy's trial. They're all women. They have assembled a team of female prosecutors, and that is definitely not by accident.
But it's not just O'Day who is pulling back the curtain. Former collaborators and insiders are beginning to speak out, offering glimpses into a world where power was wielded as a weapon and loyalty was demanded at any cost. Jean Deal, a former bodyguard for Diddy, has corroborated some of O'Day's claims, describing a culture of fear and control that extended to all corners of the bad boy empire. He treated those girls like property, Deal has said, referring to Danity Kane, and anyone who pushed back was destroyed. What makes this all the more damning is how it ties back to Beyoncé's silence. While Diddy's trial unfolds, with testimony painting a horrifying picture of abuse and manipulation, Beyoncé's decision to carry on as if nothing has changed feels increasingly untenable. The court of public opinion is rarely forgiving, and her refusal to address the allegations has left a vacuum that conspiracy theories are only too eager to fill. TikTok is awash with videos linking Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Diddy to everything from celebrity demises to secret freak-off meetings. Clips of J. Cole's song She Knows have gone viral, with amateur sleuths dissecting the lyrics for hidden meanings that implicate the trio in broader scandals.
The question is he a criminal? Is he basically akin to a mob boss running several criminal enterprises? And while it's very clear to me he is a depraved, disgusting person, we have to prove that he violated the law.
Meanwhile, O'Day shows no signs of backing down. Though she has clarified that she will not testify in Diddy's trial, her public statements are damning enough. In interviews and social media posts, she continues to paint a picture of an industry where silence is bought and power is abused. According to her, NDAs were routinely used to silence victims, and those who refused to play along were blacklisted. He tried to get us to sign away our voices, she says, recalling how Diddy attempted to use the lure of publishing rights to secure non-disclosure agreements from former artists. But we knew better. We knew he was hiding something big. As the allegations pile up, the question remains, how long can Beyoncé maintain her silence? With every passing day, the pressure grows, and the cracks in her public image widen. Fans who once saw her as a beacon of empowerment are now questioning whether she was complicit in the very systems of abuse she seemed to rail against. And while the truth may take time to emerge, one thing is clear, the Beyoncé the world thought they knew may never be the same again.
Disgusting trip to his seedy, awful world. It's the man has no class. He has no kindness in his dark, dark heart. And he's depraved. That's my opinion. This is a depraved, disgusting individual about whom I wish to hear nothing after this trial is done. The question is,
the whispers of scandal that began as murmurs have now erupted into a deafening roar, and with every passing day, the web of secrecy surrounding Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Sean Diddy comms grows darker and more tangled. As more voices step forward and old allegations resurface, it's clear that this is no longer just about individual actions. It's about a system of power, control, and silence that has shielded these music industry titans for decades. At the center of it all is a growing realization. The truth may be more shocking than any of us imagined.
So exactly 10 years ago, they say this was a party for Diddy's son, King Combs, but all the names involved here are huge. Huge. Talking Beyoncé, Jay-Z, LeBron James. Now, all of those people are just witnesses, according to this lawsuit.
Behind the scenes, Diddy's legal team is in full damage control mode, but even their aggressive efforts can't extinguish the flames. One weapon in their arsenal has been the pervasive use of non-disclosure agreements, a tool designed to silence former employees, artists, and collaborators. These agreements, reportedly sent out en masse in the wake of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit, have become a symbol of the lengths Diddy will go to protect his empire. But here's the twist. Some of his former proteges, including members of Danity, refused to sign. This defiance could open the floodgates for even more revelations, as insiders with decades of grievances are finally speaking out. Aubrey O'Day has made it clear that she saw the NDAs for what they were, a desperate attempt to bury the truth before it exploded. She even claimed that Diddy tried to sweeten the deal by offering long overdue publishing rights to music created under his label. But as Aubrey pointed out, these royalties are practically worthless in today's streaming economy. It's hundreds of dollars at most, she said bluntly, urging her bandmates not to take the bait. And she was right. The timing of these NDAs, coming just as Diddy's legal troubles were reaching a boiling point, reeks of a calculated move to suppress voices that could corroborate the allegations against him.
He says that he showed up at this party, or woke up at this party, and didn't understand how he got there, that he's insinuating clearly that he'd been but woke up and at one point saw Gloria Estefan and Emilio Estefan, and Gloria is saying, hey, we need to get him medical help because he's too up.
Get an ambulance, get him out of here.
But here's where things get murkier. The NDAs weren't just about Diddy. Sources close to the situation have alleged that these agreements were designed to protect far more than just one man's reputation. Could they also shield the complicity of others in his circle? This is where Beyoncé's name comes back into the conversation. While she may not have been directly named in the legal documents, the whispers suggest that her involvement in Diddy's notorious freak parties and her alleged knowledge of other behind-the-scenes misconduct might be the real reason she stayed silent. What else could explain her refusal to even acknowledge the growing storm?
Okay, I'm sorry, but this is really fucking creepy. Like, Beyonce has been trying to write me out of my own narrative for like years at this point. Like, this is so fucking weird.
And then we come to the infamous cheesecake incident, a moment that has long been seen as a humiliating exercise orchestrated by Diddy for reality TV. But in a shocking twist, a former member of the group involved has revealed that the cheesecake wasn't even for Diddy. It was for Beyoncé. This revelation has sent fans into a frenzy, raising questions about how much power she wielded behind the scenes and whether she was complicit in the same toxic dynamics that Diddy is now accused of perpetuating. Was she just another participant in an exploitative system or something more? Perhaps most unsettling are the stories of Beyoncé's alleged involvement in Diddy's infamous freak-off gatherings. Aubrey O'Day has hinted that Beyoncé wasn't just a bystander. She was actively participating and may have even encouraged others to attend. One particularly disturbing rumor suggests that Beyoncé used these events to manipulate and control those around her, including young artists who were desperate for a chance to break into the industry. If true, this would mark a devastating blow to her carefully curated image as a champion of empowerment and equality.
According to Manzaro, Emilio steps in and says, no, we're not doing that, and shoves Gloria out of the way, and then they take this guy through a tunnel from the Estefan's house to Diddy's home. Now, this is on Star Island in Miami. They do actually live near each other.
And yet, the accusations don't stop there. Speculation about Beyoncé's relationship with Diddy has taken a darker turn, with some alleging that their connection went beyond professional collaboration. Whispers of private meetings and secretive behavior have fueled rumors that they may have betrayed Jay-Z's trust. This wouldn't be the first time Beyoncé and Jay-Z's marriage has faced public scrutiny, but the implications of these claims are far more damaging than any past tabloid fodder. If there's even a shred of truth to these stories, it could signal the unraveling of one of the most iconic partnerships in music history.
Yeah, look, this is one of the most shocking lawsuits I've read. If this had been the first Diddy lawsuit, our jaws would be on the floor, but there's a quality to it that sounds like almost a screenplay being written, because he says he was lapsing sort of in and out of consciousness, and he's hearing voices of celebrities throughout this lawsuit. There's obviously the mask that he says he was wearing and being degraded and humiliated. There's also a bit of a Mad Libs quality of the...
Meanwhile, conspiracy theories are running wild, adding yet another layer to this already convoluted narrative. Social media platforms like TikTok are flooded with videos connecting Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Diddy to a series of high-profile tragedies, including the untimely demisses of Aliyah, Michael Jackson, and Lisa Left Ilo. These theories, while largely speculative, feed into a growing sense of mistrust and unease among fans. Why, they ask, do so many celebrities go out of their way to praise Beyoncé and Jay-Z at award shows? Is it genuine admiration, or is there something more sinister at play? The timing of these resurfaced clips, coinciding with Diddy's trial, has only added fuel to the fire. Jaguar Wright, a former collaborator and vocal critic of the music industry, has added her voice to the chorus of accusations. In a recent interview, she described Beyoncé and Jay-Z's as a nasty little couple and claimed to know multiple individuals who are prepared to testify against them. While Wright's allegations remain unsubstantiated, her comments have reignited debates about the dark side of the entertainment world and the alleged complicity of its most powerful figures. Could it be that Beyoncé and Jay-Z's carefully polished legacy is built on a foundation of secrets and lies?
Party. So there would presumably be people who could verify it or say it didn't happen.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems. You're right. When you mention all those people, they may all have alibis.
Well, Jay-Z certainly seems to have one.
Yeah.
So Jay-Z has mentioned that he's there with Beyonce, but we know that Jay-Z was in New York.
Yes.
The night that it was supposed to be. Now,
the night of King Combs of his birthday, which happens to be April 1st.
As we dig deeper, another thread emerges, one that ties Beyoncé and Jay-Z to an even broader pattern of secrecy and control. Public records show that Roc Nation, Jay-Z's powerful entertainment company, has been involved in numerous legal battles over the years, many of which were quietly settled out of court. These cases, while not as high profile as Diddy's current trial, paint a picture of a company fiercely protective of its image. From disputes with former artists to allegations of mismanagement, the recurring theme is the use of legal and financial muscle to quash dissent. Could this be another example of how the Carters maintain their untouchable status in the industry? Adding fuel to the fire are whispers of Jay-Z's own questionable dealings in the past. While he has publicly spoken about his rise from poverty and his early mistakes, critics argue that he has never fully reckoned with the implications of his past actions. His ties to individuals with connections to underworld activities have been documented in various exposes, but these stories often fade as Jay-Z's cultural influence overshadows them. Now, with his name being mentioned alongside Diddy's in speculative rumors, fans are wondering if this is a moment when the past finally catches up to him. After all, how many secrets can one man keep before the walls start closing in?
I think that there might be a few truths thrown in there somewhere to some of these allegations, but this one almost seems like a fan fiction, or like there are parts of it that just seem a little fabricated. You know, like word salad, all the celebrities thrown in there, and usually it comes back that they weren't even anywhere near the area. It might be a strategy by his lawyers, but who knows?
What makes this even more unsettling is the role of public perception. For years, Beyoncé and Jay-Z have carefully cultivated an image of success, love, and resilience, a modern-day power couple who have overcome challenges to stand tall as cultural icons. But these recent allegations, even if unproven, threaten to unravel that carefully constructed narrative. As more voices emerge and more connections are drawn, the very foundation of their legacy begins to feel shaky. Are we witnessing the slow collapse of a dynasty, or will their influence once again insulate them from the consequences of the growing storm? And then there's the chilling testimony from those who were closest to the chaos. Cassie Ventura's detailed accounts of her time with Diddy paint a picture of psychological manipulation, coercion, and fear. She described how she was blackmailed with explicit videos, forced into degrading situations, and left feeling trapped in a cycle of abuse. These revelations have cast a long shadow over everyone in Diddy's orbit, including Beyoncé and Jay-Z. The question now is whether they, too, will be called to account for their role, whether through action or inaction, in enabling this toxic environment.
There were two women who said that they had been sexually abused, saying it happened decades ago, and they thought that they could look at the evidence in this case, which is about assault, and view it fair and unbiased based on what comes into the courtroom. And one woman who is proceeding said she was arrested when she was 16 for shoplifting at Harry Potter's World at Universal Studios. The judge asked her what she stole. She said it was a wand.
As the trial continues, the stakes couldn't be higher. For Diddy, the allegations represent the potential collapse of his empire and the end of his career. For Beyoncé and Jay-Z, the fallout could be just as devastating. Their silence is no longer being interpreted as strength or dignity. Instead, it's seen as a calculated effort to avoid scrutiny. But how long can they maintain this facade before the weight of public opinion forces them to speak? In the end, this story is about more than just individual actions. It's about a culture of power and control that has allowed the rich and famous to operate with impunity for far too long. It's about the silenced voices, the broken careers, and the countless lives affected by an industry that prioritizes profit over people. And as more truths come to light, we're left with one burning question. How deep does this go? And how many more secrets are waiting to be uncovered? We want to hear your thoughts. Do you believe the rumors about Beyoncé's involvement? Is this just another example of the music industry protecting its own, or is there something bigger at play? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to stay tuned for updates as this explosive story continues to unfold. The truth, as they say, always comes out in the end.